Israel has a right to defend itself. It's true. Israel has a right to defend itself. If you've been watching the news for the past week, you know, because every TV anchor and pundit has said, that Israel has a right to defend itself. Joe Biden just released a statement. It said that Israel has a right to defend itself. For the past 20 years, I have heard that phrase come out of politicians' mouths almost as much as thoughts and prayers after the most recent mass shooting in America. It's the perfect common sense yet meaningless, vapid statement that politicians and media personalities are so good at delivering. It's the automatic response anytime violence erupts in Israel because on the surface, it makes perfect sense. If someone's attacking you, you have a right to defend yourself. If someone's attacking a country, they have a right to defend themselves. But the real purpose of the phrase is to shut down any criticism whatsoever of the Israeli government. So over the past week, when Israel has killed over 70 Palestinians, including like 16 kids, we're not supposed to ask questions because Israel has a right to defend itself. In 2014, when Israel killed over 500 Palestinian kids, it's okay because Israel has a right to defend itself. Case closed. Nothing to see here. But if you think about it for more than a second, the obvious question arises. Don't Palestinians have a right to defend themselves? But see, that's the beauty of the phrase. The implication is that Israel is never the aggressor. They are always the victim. Therefore, they need to do whatever it takes to defend themselves. In considering the history of hatred and violence towards Jews, not to mention the rampant anti-Semitism that still exists today, people are hesitant to criticize Israel's government no matter how obviously wrong their actions are. Let's pretend for a second that it is always self-defense. There's still the issue of proportion. Israel has a missile defense system, the Iron Dome, and one of the biggest militaries on the planet, all funded by the US. Palestinians have rocks and rockets. They don't even have a military. They have militants, Hamas, which most ordinary Palestinians don't even support. So even if it was always Hamas just firing rockets into Israel unprovoked, is it right for Israel to respond by knocking down entire city blocks and killing dozens of innocent civilians? In the past 48 hours, Israel has killed more people than Hamas has killed in the past 10 years. Innocent people are paying for the actions of a few. It's collective punishment. It's like when little Johnny in 3rd grade keeps firing spitballs at the teacher, and the teacher takes away recess for the entire class. Except in this case, little Johnny keeps firing spitballs and the teacher murders the entire class. But the truth is, it's not always self-defense. A main reason for the violence are the illegal Israeli settlements. This has been going on for decades, and it was the catalyst for the violence currently happening right now. Far-right Israeli nationalists literally kick Palestinians out of their home, bulldoze the homes, and then build over them, claiming the land as their own. The entire international community has called these actions illegal and told Israel to stop. Every now and then, the United States will shake our finger at them and say, hey, don't do that anymore. And then we keep giving them billions of dollars in aid and look the other way as Israeli settlers continue to kick Palestinians out of their homes and steal their land. So what should Palestinians do? Why is it that only one side has a right to defend themselves and their homes? Another phrase we hear a lot is Israel has a right to exist, which, yeah, should be fucking obvious. And it should lead to the obvious question, doesn't Palestine? But according to Israel and the US, no, it's not a recognized country. And all of this creates this mentality that says, when Palestinian children are killed, it's okay because Israel has a right to defend itself, and Palestinians don't even have a right to exist.